welcome to another crafty video. This one is showing you a lot of the cards that I have created using the Page Starters collection from Arden Creative Studio, which is designed by Katie Petit. This is her third collection that's come out. I did do one previously on the last collection, which is the Vintage Makers collection. I didn't do one of these on the Hidden Creek collection, but if you want to see any of the first three collections or the future collections in full detail, you can join me over on my Patreon community. I'll put one of those QR codes up here, and the link will also be in the description below the video as well. I've got over 40 videos over there for you to catch up on, but if you like these more in-depth talky videos, then they are all over there now. And we have a lovely community of people over there. My favourite little crafty cheerleaders are all over there. So if you want to join us, then feel free to do so. But I thought I would just show you all of the cards that I have created with this collection, in case you just wanted to have a look at some of the bits and pieces that I have done. So you might be thinking, why have I got so many cards with this theme to it? And it's because I did a tutorial for Arden's YouTube channel, and it'll probably be up on this one at some point soon as well. But I was showing how you can batch make beautiful little postage stamp toppers using some of the postage stamp dies in this collection, and some of the gorgeous stamps and things in this collection too, as well as the word dies too. So I initially created 4 cards before I filmed the tutorial. So I've got these 4 cards here showing off those beautiful sentiments, and then I showed the whole process behind it, and we created this card in the actual tutorial as well, showing how you can change it from a 2-stamp style in a portrait card to a 3-stamp style in a landscape card. But also you can just use these as toppers on your journals or your scrapbook pages as well, however you want to use them. You could even turn them into little fridge magnets actually as well, and maybe have nice little uplifting kind of quotes on there, and give them to people as little magnets for their fridge too. But that was the first kind of project that I created with this collection. Then I've also done this project too, which originally this was the card that I made, and it's using the rub-ons from the collection. They're absolutely gorgeous. Some of the beautiful floral ephemera on here, some of the banner dies cutting out from the patterned papers, one of the beautiful sentiments that I've shadowed with black to make it pop out, some vellum from the Vintage Makers collection, some enamel dots from the Hidden Creek collection, and I've just sort of brought it all together with this lovely frame that's in the new collection. There's the extra little rub-ons that are in there as well. And then I decided this looks like quite a good masculine card, so why not do my other tutorial for Arden, showing how to take a card you've already created but make it even more sort of on the masculine side and turn it into a Father's Day card, because at the point of me making this, it was a few weeks before Father's Day. This is probably going to go up after Father's Day, but it was a kind of a Father's Day sort of idea. So you can see they're almost identical, but I switched out using the Page Starters ephemera and changed back to using the Hidden Creek ephemera, and I've got this beautiful little vintage camera and some beautiful leafy foliage pieces rather than florals. I've just gone with plain sort of leaves, and it just gives it slightly more of a masculine kind of feel. And then instead of using the beautiful like picture frame borders and little distressed sort of pieces from the Page Starters rub-ons, I went back to the Hidden Creek rub-ons, and I've used some of those paint swatches and other little random pieces on this one as well. And then I just altered the sentiment, so instead of just saying best day, it says have the best Father's Day. And then I also added a little best ever sub-sentiment on there as well. But if you want to see this in full detail, or the other selection of the postage stamp ones in full detail, there will be a tutorial on Arden Creative's YouTube channel, and it is a full in-depth talking tutorial, but they will be up on this channel at some point later down the line as well. But if you want to go and see them ahead of time, then you can pop over to their channel and say that you like watching my videos. But yeah, this is those 2 cards that I created using a lot of the ephemera and bits and pieces like that. Rather than creating things myself, this is using more of the pre-made stuff, but using it maybe slightly more in a creative way, you know, sort of snipping things up. Like this and this are all the same ephemera piece, but I snipped them up to use them in different areas and stuff as well. So that is that one. And then I was just having a load of fun with the stamps in this collection. So one of the stamp sets, the Wispy stems, has got 3 different silhouette designs. I think it's got the bee, a butterfly, and then more of a mothy dragonfly sort of one. Or it could just be another butterfly, to be honest, like 2 butterflies and a bee in silhouette style. And so I thought I could make a whole card just around that one little stamp. So I've also used one of the sentiments that's in there as well, but I just used a couple of different colours of yellow ink pads and stamped that silhouette bee all over the place to create a beautiful background. Then I've stamped the word hello in one of the yellow colours as well. And then for my actual sentiment, I've done hello in black, and then here I actually stamped this in marble statue Nouveau ink pad, you know, the little mini ones. If you have been around for a long time, you'll know that I love the marble statue colour, but then they brought out Lost Shadow Distress ink, which is very kind of similar. It's a bit darker, but kind of similar. So it's just basically a really, really light grey colour. And I stamped this silhouette bee just here. And then I took one of my black fine liners and just tried to draw on the detail. It's not perfect, but I just wanted to give the impression of an actual outlined sort of bee on here as well. But yeah, and then I've just added the be beautiful as the punny sentiment, so it says hello be beautiful. I thought that was quite nice to do. So that is just simply using a couple of the stamps from one of the sets to create a card. And then this one is using these beautiful little sort of strips, like distressed strips, almost like little pieces of old sellotape or something, or you could turn them into little washi tape strips as well. But I just wanted to create a random modern sort of background with them. It's almost sort of broken up plaid kind of design, just using a couple of greeny blue colours, layering them up in different ways. And then I also used the postage stamp mark in the background to give a little bit of a swooping pattern, and this is Lost Shadow Distress Oxide. And then I did a bit of splattering with the same ink as well, squishing a bit out onto my glass mat, watering it down and splattering it with a paintbrush. And then I have also used some squiggles from the previous collection, the Vintage Makers collection, and teamed them up with the Let's Party sentiment from the Page Starters collection with a torn little strip of paper across the middle. Then I've sort of grouped these 3 together. They're completely different techniques for creating these, but they are all in the same kind of colour scheme. It's sort of Victorian Velvet, Shaded Lilac and Stormy Sky, Distress Ink and Distress Oxides that I used for these. But this one is using, this is Stamp and Spin, and really going to town with it. I stamped both of the beautiful wispy stems 8 times going around, but I did one lot in the Victorian Velvet and then one lot in the Stormy Sky, and moved them so they overlapped but didn't obliterate each other, so you can still see the detail of both of them. I also splattered on some white ink onto this, and once all of that ink had settled into the card and was nice and dry, I came back in with Victorian Velvet and Stormy Sky Distress ink instead of the oxides, and did a bit of ink blending out from the middle, so it goes Stormy Sky in the middle out to the Victorian Velvet, just to kind of add an anchoring point in the centre there. And then I've used some vellum from the Vintage Makers collection, some thread. This is actually just sewing thread. It's like a slightly creamy colour that I've got. And then 2 of these pieces. This one is from the laser cuts and this one is from the ephemera pack, and I just layered them up, and I thought the colour went really nicely with that Victorian Velvet colour. So that's how I did that card. This one is using embossing powders. So the background of this, I took one of the wispy stems, I stamped it up one way and up the other way with Versamark, and then did white detail embossing powder. Then I also sprinkled on some of Francoise's embossing sprinkles, the white ones that Creative Expressions used to do. I don't know if Cosmic Shimmer will bring those back actually, now they've been taken over. I hope they do, because they're really lovely. It's basically like a really chunky ultra thick embossing powder, and you can sprinkle it on and then heat it, and you get this beautiful speckled effect. Perfect for snow, but you can also use it for any kind of ethereal kind of effect. And I also did the same thing with an ultra thick embossing powder that's actually a pearlescent-y kind of one, so there's just a light blue kind of colour in there that I added in. And then I overstamped with some of the other wispy stems in the Victorian Velvet and the Stormy Sky, and then once all of that ink had settled, I ink blended over it with the 3 colours of Distress ink rather than the oxide, so it was a lighter colouring on here. And then I buffed it off so that the white came back through again, and then I put a couple of strips of torn vellum and a thank you sentiment from this collection as well. And then finally, this one is playing around with layering up 2 different stamps, but they're actually from 2 different stamp sets and they're not supposed to go together. I just thought that it would create a fun kind of background. So I took the outline butterfly from the Postmarked Adventures and I took the solid butterfly from the Wispy stems and I just layered them up together. So I took those same 3 colours of Distress Oxide and stamped the solid ones all over the background, and then I came in with the outline one and stamped that over the top, and then anywhere I felt like it needed something else in there, I used the smaller outline one from this stamp set as well and stamped that elsewhere on here. And then I used the Everyday Adventures sort of stacked sentiment. It says Everyday Adventures 3 times but in 3 different fonts, which I really like. I'm kind of hoping she'll do happy birthday and thank you in this kind of style, because I think they look really lovely for us card makers. But really nice little sentiment there. And then I did a black border across the top and bottom, but I deliberately skipped and left little gaps like the outline of the butterfly as well. So, I hope you enjoyed having a look at all of these samples that I created with the Arden Creative Studio Page Starters collection, showing you some of the ones that you'll be seeing in tutorials and sort of explaining in a little more detail some of the other ones that I've created as well. And don't forget, if you want to join me on Patreon, then the link will be in the description. I'll try and put the QR code up here so you can scan it if you're watching on the telly as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!